Okay, so good day taong bayan at ngayon po pag-usapan natin tong statement ni Senator Imee Marcos tungkol sa pag-apply ni Secretary Boying Remulla as Ombudsman. So kung makita po ninyo, ang dami pong reactions nito. Nagulat ako, 32,000. So in summary po yung statement dito ni Senator Imee is that sabi po niya, yung next plan na daw ngayon ng PBBM admin is papagpilitan daw na si Sec Boying yung gagawing Ombudsman para si Sec Boying daw will basically do or find a way para daw po matanggal or ma-disqualify si VP Sara from running in the 2028 presidential elections. Okay? At dahil po dyan, ngayon naisipan ko ipaliwanag po sa inyo, the taong bayan, kung ano ba talaga yung Office of the Ombudsman, ano ba yung functions niyan, bakit yan siya very influential na position, tapos kung bakit din yan siya kailangan talaga sa bansa natin. And lastly po, may konting maritesan po tayo in relation dito sa statement ni Senator Imee. Okay? So kung nag-enjoy po kayo sa video, huwag niyo po sana kalimutan i-like mismo itong video na to and of course po mag-subscribe sa YouTube channel ko para updated po kayo kung may bago tayong upload. So yung Ombudsman po, this is an independent office that is constitutionally created. Nasa Constitution po yan mismo. Hindi po simpleng Republic Act lang yung naggawa ng office na yan. Tapos yung main purpose po ng Ombudsman is what we call the protector of the people. Yun po yung main function niya. So protector of the people in the sense na meron po siyang sarili niyang investigatory power to review complaints po filed to it or to investigate motu proprio at its own initiative against abuses po or wrongdoings po ng mga public officer or employees natin. Okay? Stated differently po, ang kapangyarihan ng Ombudsman ay mag-imbestiga base sa isang complaint na final sa kanya or at its own initiative motu proprio versus mga government officials po natin. May it be elected, appointed, or career government officials. Okay? So in short, sumbungan po siya ng tao in relation to the abusive or erroneous acts po ng public officers natin. Okay? So yan po yung summary ng definition po ng Ombudsman. So ngayon, ipakita ko lang din po sa inyo yung constitutional provisions related to it. Okay, so we are back po sa 1987 Constitution and this is actually under the same provisions po ng impeachment sa accountability of public officers. Nasa Article 11 din po yan yung Ombudsman. So makita po nyo, Article 11, accountability of public officers. So itong mga Section 1, isi-skip na po natin to. Ito yung sa mga impeachment, yan yung favorite natin dati. Yung House shall have power to initiate. Anyway, skip po natin. Punta po tayo sa Ombudsman. So yung Ombudsman po na provision starts at Section 5. So makita po nyo, there is hereby created the independent office of the Ombudsman, composed of the Ombudsman to be known as Tanod Bayan, one overall deputy and at least one deputy each for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. A separate deputy for the military establishment may likewise be appointed. Okay, so this is Section 5 of Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution. Tapos yung pinakauna pong dapat natin i-take note talaga dito is this one, created the independent office of the Ombudsman. Diba? So kung makita po nyo, like what I stated earlier, it is an independent office po that is constitutionally created. So ang point ko po dito, since it is an independent office, dapat po yung mga na-appoint dito is an individual who has no appearance or semblance of any bias, may it be political bias or judicial bias, diba? Because this is an independent office. So importante po talaga dito yung appearance at pagiging impartial ng mga na-appoint sa Office of the Ombudsman. Okay? And then ngayon po, punta naman tayo sa Section 8, yung qualifications. So nakalagay po dyan, Ombudsman and his deputies shall be natural-born citizens of the Philippines at the time of their appointment, at least 40 years old, recognize probity and independence. So kung makita mo, inulit po talaga ng Constitution yung recognized probity at independence, di ba? So in other words po, dapat talagang na-appoint dito ay walang appearance of biases, okay? Or partiality, may it be political bias or judicial bias, di ba? Kaya kung makita po nyo, di ba, yung last po nating si Ombudsman is si Ombudsman Martires. Galing po yun siya as a Associate Justice from the Supreme Court and prior to that, he was a member of the judiciary. In short, meron po talaga siyang appearance ng impartiality sa judicial side and sa political side because of the track record po ni Ombudsman Martires. Okay? And yung next po dito, of course, member of the Philippine Bar, meaning dapat po abogado yung ma-appoint as an ombudsman and must not have been candidates for any elective office in the immediately preceding election. Then lastly po, the ombudsman must have for 10 years or more been a judge or engaged in the practice of law in the Philippines. So hindi naman po kailangan na judge talaga or former justice. As long as you are engaged in the practice of law, may it be through litigation, through teaching, kasi yung teaching po is also considered as engaged in the practice of law. In other words po, if you are using your expertise as a lawyer, that is already considered as practicing law. Hindi po mandatory na judge ka lang. As long as you are engaged in the practice of law, qualified pa rin po yun dito sa requirement sa pagiging isang ombudsman. Okay? And then next po, punta naman tayo sa section 12. So makita nyo po talaga dito nakalagay yan. The ombudsman and his deputies as protectors of the people. Diba? So yun po talaga yung main function niya. Protector of the people against mga erroneous and abusive actions po ng mga government employees natin. Diba? Shall act promptly on complaints filed in any form or manner against public officials or employees of the government or any subdivision, agency, or instrumentality thereof, including government-owned or controlled corporations, and shall in appropriate cases notify the complainants of the action taken and the results thereof. Diba? Again, protector of the people po yung ombudsman. Then dito po in section 13, makita po natin the following powers, functions, and duties of the ombudsman. So like what I stated earlier already, investigate on its own or on complaint by any person, any act or omission of any public official. Diba? So pwede po mag-investigate by himself or herself yung ombudsman kasi nakalagay po yan specifically sa Constitution. Hindi po niya kailangan mag-antay ng isang complainant para mag-start po siya mag-investigate against the abusive or erroneous actions po ng mga public officers natin. Okay? Tapos number 2, makita po nyo, direct upon complaint or at its own instance any public official or employee to perform and expedite any act or duty required by law or to stop, prevent, and correct any abuse or impropriety in the performance of duties. Diba? So pwede po i-compel ng ombudsman na gawin ng isang government office or ng isang public officer yung action na hindi niya ginagawa. Diba? To perform and expedite. So kung masyado pong mabagal yung mga actions nila, pwede rin po yan ipa-expedite via the ombudsman. Okay? And of course, to stop, prevent, and correct any abuses po na ginagawa ng mga public officers natin. And then yung mga next po ditong mga provisions is somewhat related naman po to sila lahat. Pero yung isa pong gusto ko lang i-take note din natin dito is itong number 6, publicize matters covered by its investigation when circumstances so warrant and with due prudence. Diba? So kung mag-conduct po ng investigation yung ombudsman tapos may lumalabas ngayon na merong mga corrupt practices, abusive practices ang certain public officer, pwede po yan ilabas sa public ng ombudsman yung findings niya. Diba? Kasi generally po kasi in regular cases, kaya yan siya important talaga, like what the Constitution specifically stated, yung pinakita ko po sa inyo kanina, 'di ba, protector of the people po talaga sila. So therefore po, kung maayos yung ombudsman, nagagawa talaga niya yung trabaho niya, he or she is an individual with proven competence and integrity and impartiality, edi talagang magiging sumbungan po siya ng tao. In the sense na pag meron siya lahat ng qualifications na yon, in the mind of the people, madaling malapitan yung ombudsman para magawa po yung constitutionally mandated function or power niya, 'di ba? Kasi kung meron pong appearance of partiality or pagiging bias yung maging appoint ng ombudsman, of course, in the eyes of a reasonable person, bakit ba siya lalapit sa ombudsman kung alam naman niya politically kakampi ng isang ombudsman yung fa-filean niya, 'di ba? So kung ganun pa lang, again, in the eyes of a reasonable person, baka magdalawang isip na po mag-file pa ng complaint kasi alam niya yung political ties between person na gusto niyang makasuhan and the ombudsman. So in short, parang madi-defeat na po yung purpose ng pagiging protector of the people. Okay? So yan po yung importance talaga. Okay? So yan po yung importance ng ombudsman sa society natin. Again, it is the protector of the people from abuses and from erroneous actions po from public officers natin. Therefore, it is really very important po na yung ma-appoint dito ay may proven competence, integrity, and impartiality. Para po maging tunay talaga silang protector of the people. Para wala nang dalawang isip kung may nakita po tayong abuses, hindi po matatakot yung common tao na magsumbong po talaga sa ombudsman natin. Okay? Okay, so ngayon punta na po tayo sa Maritesan portion, yung favorite po ng mga taga-Facebook. Okay, pero anyway po, basahin ko lang ulit muna yung statement ni Senator Imee. So ang sabi po ni Senator Imee, ipipilit nila na si Justice Secretary BOYING Remulla ay maging ombudsman para maipakulong si VP Inday Sara bago mag-2027. Okay, so i-clarify ko lang din po pala, explain ko na lang din muna. Yung may appointing authority po kasi ng ombudsman is the President. So yung Judicial and Bar Council po, magsasubmit sila ng list of nominees, then the President can choose from that list of nominees. Kaya yung JBC ngayon, di ba, nagko-conduct po ng interviews, okay? So yan po yung appointing process sa Ombudsman. So ngayon po, magbigay lang ako ng comment dito sa statement naman ni Senator Imee, okay? So unang-una po, of course, this statement ni Senator Imee, this is clearly a political statement, di ba? Kasi this is in relation po to Vice President Inday Sara Duterte's potential candidacy sa 2028 presidential elections. So yung sinabi dito ni Senator Imee, pag si Secretary Boying daw yung maging ombudsman, pipilitin, may pakulong si VP. So yun nga po, that is clearly a political statement because that is beneficial po to the political mileage ni Senator Imee and ni VP Sara. Okay, so ngayon punta po tayo sa legal side of things naman sa mga nakikita ko dito. Unang-una po, tatandaan natin si Sara Duterte po, si Vice President Sara Duterte, she is the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, okay? Tapos yung Vice President po, that is an impeachable officer. So ang ibig sabihin po, pag impeachable officer, pwede lang po yan siya matanggal via an impeachment, yung ifa-file dun sa House of Representatives, tapos magkakaroon ng trial sa Senate, yung mga forthwith trial shall proceed, yung mga, ang tagal po natin, ang dami po nating videos related to that. But anyway, that is the only way po para mapatanggal sa office ang isang impeachable officer via impeachment lang, okay? So ngayon baka sabihin naman po ninyo, ang sabi naman ni Senator Imee dito is maipakulong, hindi naman ma-impeach. So tatandaan po kasi natin, pag makulong po ang isang impeachable officer, that has the effect of also removing that impeachable officer from office kasi hindi na po niya ma-perform yung functions niya, 'di ba, kung nakakulong na po siya. So pag ganyan po, hindi po yan siya magagawa ng ombudsman na maipakulong ang isang impeachable officer because that will go against the constitution po, the structure of our constitution na an impeachable officer can only be removed via impeachment. So kung ipakulong siya, pagpilitan siyang ikulong, edi yun nga, masisira yung constitutional provisions natin. So magkaroon ng potential constitutional crisis regarding this issue. So kung let's say man lang po na ma-appoint nga si Secretary Boying as ombudsman, tapos maipakulong niya si VP Inday, that is a very out of this world scenario if you ask me from my legal point of view po. Kasi hindi siya dapat pwede. Hindi po yun pwede talaga kasi the only way nga po to remove an impeachable officer is via an impeachment. Tapos kung makulong na yung impeachable officer, mawawala na yung functions ng office niya. So that will be in contravention po of the constitutional safeguards in relation sa security of tenure ng mga impeachable officers. Okay, so yan po yung point of view ko. Kaya tingin ko hindi naman maipapakulong ni Secretary Boying kung siya nga yung na-appoint kasi bawal po yan sa constitution natin. Okay, so medyo technical na po itong na-explain ko pero hopefully po na intindihan nyo naman. Okay. So ito medyo maritesa na lang din to. So let's say ma-appoint nga si Secretary Boying as ombudsman. Yung nakikita ko lang pwedeng political issue dito, political statements or basically political propaganda na mangyari is yung provision na pinakita ko kanina na the ombudsman has the duty or has the right to publicize yung mga investigation na kinoconduct niya. 'Di ba? Kasi basically mag-investigate dito yung ombudsman na ma-appoint tapos pwede niya i-publicize yun. So pag ganun, pwede masira yung political mileage ni VP Sara kung i-enforce ngayon ni Secretary Boying. Again, this is just hypothetical scenarios lang po para lang ma-visualize nyo talaga. So ulitin ko lang po. So hypothetically, kung ma-appoint si Secretary Boying as the ombudsman, kahit na po hindi niya maipakulong si VP Sara, pwede niya ma-exercise dun yung function niya or yung power niya to publicize investigation findings niya. So kung may makita siyang mga anomalies dun, edi syempre that will affect the political mileage or the reputation of VP Sara, 'di ba? So yun yung nakikita ko ditong issue. Not necessarily sa maipakulong na side but more on dun sa publication side ng mga findings. Kasi at the end of the day, pag investigation pa lang kasi po, that is still all allegations, diba? There will only be a judgment of conviction only upon the court. Kung may na po of conviction talaga na guilty ang isang akusado sa Sandigan Bayan po yung mangyayari dito kasi public officer po si Vice President Sara Duterte. Again, ulitin ko lang po para mas klaro talaga tayo. Pag i-exercise po kasi ng ombudsman yung power niya to publicize the investigation, of course, kahit na po allegations pa lang yun yung investigation, in the eyes po of a reasonable political observer, pag wala pong alam sa batas, ang tingin niya, posibleng totoo yun, lahat ng mga allegations pa lang ng investigation. So syempre, pag ganun po, maka-apekto at makasira po yan sa political political mileage ng isang politiko. Okay? And the reason kaya ko po sinasabi na allegations pala yung investigation, kasi the only time lang naman po na magkakaroon talaga ng full conclusion kung whether or not guilty ba talaga ang isang akusado is only upon the issuance po or upon the release of the decision of guilty ng korte. Doon lang po yun. Pero prior to that decision po na malabas na guilty, lahat po yan ay mere allegations pa lang that can be questioned pa in the proper venue. Okay? So again, that is technical na naman po yung na-explain ko, but hopefully the gets po ninyo. I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible para ma-explain ko po both yung legal side and yung potential political side of things. Okay? So anyway, hanggang dyan lang po muna yung discussion natin. Hopefully klaro po yun. If you like more legal educational videos to current events, subscribe lang po kayo sa channel ko, and until next time, see you all po. Bye-bye! Uy, DDS lawyer guys. Bye-bye!